Alright, so the next helper I want to show you is Turbulence. So you can go under Helpers, Phoenix, and create a PHX Turbulence helper. And basically the only two settings that I would ever mess with are the size and the strength. So you can see what kind of effect that has on the smoke with the default settings. Pretty standard turbulence force. The strength is pretty high right now, so I'm just gonna maybe set the strength to 20 and set the size to 100, and that should give us something much more subtle. So you can see what it's doing now with the settings being much lower. We're basically just getting some nicer random detail and movements inside of the smoke. So a very subtle turbulence force is something you will very often add to add more detail to smoke and even fire simulations and liquid simulations as well. It's just a nice way to complement the massive vorticity that you can control under dynamics. So if you're not really getting enough random movement and you just want to emphasize that, you can always add a turbulence force for that. And the last one I want to show you is the body force. I'm going to delete the turbulence, go back under helpers and create a body force. If you've taken my liquid beginner course, we've used this to make object take shape out of water. And you can do the same thing with smoke. So I would just select this torus as my body force object, and we can run the simulation. And basically right now the smoke will bounce off the walls of the torus. And to stop that from happening, we can go under Phoenix FD properties and make it not a solid object. And you can right click, go to object properties and display as box. And now we can just basically watch the smoke slowly take shape of the torus. Alright, 100 frames in and you can see the smoke is beautifully taking shape of the torus. Now you can increase the speed at which this is happening and the strength of the whole effect with the strength parameter. So maybe you can set it to 200. Now suppress orbit is an interesting parameter. Basically the smoke will first sort of fly past the torus and then it will be forced to come back into place. And this is controlled by the suppress orbit. So if you make that 1, the smoke will adhere more strongly to the shape of the object and it will not be allowed to, sort of fly past and then come back again. And the internal damping is similar. So basically once the smoke has entered the volume of the object, increasing this internal damping to 1 will make it stick inside of the object more and again not be allowed to fly out again. And then there's this spread speed, which is basically how fast the smoke will spread to evenly fill the object. So the difference between strength and spread speed is that strength is really the speed or the velocity that the smoke has when approaching the object, while the spread speed is the speed that the smoke has when it's already inside or near the volume of the object and it's already just spreading around, right? So if you increase both the strength and the spread speed, you're gonna get the object to form faster. So I'm gonna leave this as it is right now and just run it one more time. All right, so you can see that by increasing the suppress orbit and the internal damping and the strength, we're getting the shape of the torus to show much faster and the smoke is not allowed to escape the shape as much. So this is a really cool effect, this body force. You can use it to morph objects, logos, products. I've used this in commercials. As you can see, with basically minimal effort, in 2 minutes, we set up this pretty cool smoke effect. And I think you can imagine we could have a product here, morph any kind of an object out of the smoke. So definitely play around and see what you can come up with. And I'll see you in the next lesson.